Okay, how's it going? I'm going to tell you about a blast, an IED, um, that hit our truck on May 16th, 2011. I'm not going to make it too long. I'm going to try to brief it up a little bit, but that's what this podcast is about people telling their stories, veterans telling their stories. Um, I really think that it's therapeutic and that it can help each and every one of us, and it can help the public become aware of some of the things that we have to go through. The camaraderie that we feel as veterans and also in the armed forces is built on stories like this. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast, was to show the world that the veteran community is a strong community and that we can help each other. It was an overcast day. It was about 75 degrees or so. We actually had a late start that morning. We were supposed to leave around 7 in the morning and didn't actually leave until around 9. I can't really remember what the issue was. So I believe it was a maintenance issue. On this day, I actually happened to go on two missions. Being a mechanic, I was attached to a route clearance company, and sometimes when you go out with them, there's other people that don't have maintenance with them, and they need help as well. So the first mission, we went out to just past Ghazni City and came back. It was about a 4-hour trip. We did that trip quite a bit, so it wasn't a big deal. Nothing really happened. But as soon as I came back in the gate and ended up at the fuel point, there was a call over the radio saying that the Polish needed help, and they were on the east side of Ghazni City. The base Ghazni in Ghazni province, Afghanistan, is actually a Polish base. It's not an American base. So we lived and worked with them. It was actually a pretty cool experience. In the afternoon, we had the call over the radio saying that they needed recovery. They had gotten hit. They were on a dirt road and they were on the east side of Ghazni. So my first question was, okay, so are we all going? And the answer was no. So I ended up going with EOD, which was the only other Americans there with us. And I didn't have comms with anybody but EOD. And the Polish convoy was about ready to leave. So there was no handling that issue. So we drove out there. Now I'm at Wrecker, so I was trying to tell these guys, you can't go that fast. I'm a lot bigger than your trucks are. And they didn't really listen to that. So we were going about 40 miles an hour out there, whipping through streets. And on our way out there, once we got to the dirt road, we started hearing some loud booms. And we could see smoke on the side of a mountain. And a Polish Rosamax was just shooting at it without any explanation of what was going on. And I remember hearing EOD saying, hey, you guys might be recovering in a firefight. And I was like, that's not good. So, of course, they are moving quickly, and we're on a dirt road. We get out to the vehicle. The left rear tire on the damaged vehicle was blown off. So we had to rear tow this vehicle. We picked the vehicle up and we tightened the steering wheel to make sure that the tires wouldn't move. We reiterated to the Polish that we need to go slow because now we're towing a vehicle. We get back on the dirt road, heading back to the base, and then all of a sudden it happened. There was black smoke everywhere. I got on the radio, I yelled IED, IED, IED. At this point, we didn't stop, So I, was yelling at my driver, hey, we need to stop. We were actually still moving right after this happened. EOD comes up to my side of the vehicle. I could see the blast hole in my mirror. It hit on my side of the truck. It missed all 4 of the tires that are attached to our truck and blew up the only tire left. I signaled back to the talk saying that we had been hit and they were wondering if we needed, assistance. They asked me if they need another wrecker. EOD wanted me to get out on the ground. I told them no, I'm not going to do it. You actually get a little paranoid right after that happened. Like, you don't know, you don't really trust the ground at that point. So it took about 20 minutes before I actually got out on the ground. Now, the Polish obviously didn't listen to us. They were up over the hill when this happened, and I couldn't even see them anymore. I went back and looked at the vehicle. Now, these vehicles, our vehicle and the disabled vehicle, had detached. So the disabled vehicle was still in the blast hole, front end first. There was engine pieces all over the place. There was tires, RPG cages, a whole bunch of stuff was all over the place. My unit did start to come out. I was pretty relieved to see them coming over the hill. About 5 minutes later, the Polish had come back. They started circling us to set up a perimeter, and the Polish commander came over and was asking how everything was, if I was okay, and that they're sorry. And I was actually a little bit frustrated with them because they were moving so fast and we were trying to catch up to them. When you're actually driving that fast, you don't notice things that could be noticed. You won't notice them if you're driving fast. That's why when we do route clearance, we go real slow so that we can look for stuff. Once my unit got there, me and my driver went over to the combat medic, did a mist test real quick. Turns out we didn't have a concussion, which was cool. There was actually no damage hardly to our vehicle at all. No broken hydraulic lines. All the tires were still there. It did have some blast damage, as in like shrapnel pieces had hit, but it's just cosmetic stuff. It wasn't really crazy. I actually have to give it to my platoon. They were out there pretty quickly. I mean, it took them probably 30 minutes to get out there. I believe they already knew that we had been hit. Once they got out there, it was game on. They were, hooking stuff up, and we ended up picking that truck up. It only had one tire left. The other rear tire was the only one left. So we ended up picking it up with 2 cranes and putting it on a trailer. And we ended up getting out of there probably 7 at night. And the Polish were still shooting at the mountain. I still don't understand that they didn't say anything about that. I'm not sure if they were just test firing or what they were doing, honestly. So yeah, that's my story about getting blown up. We ended up having 2 days off after that. We had actually been in our first firefight 2 days before the blast. So on the next episode, I'm going to talk about that. I still keep in touch with that driver. His name is Anthony Green. And, we share something that nobody else is going to share. We share that story. We share this story. If you'd like to be a part of this podcast, let me know. Email's down in the bottom corner. iraqstanpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up. I'd love to hear your stories. I'm sure the rest of the world would like to hear your stories too.